Well, it looks to me, EDP, you're in big trouble now. Now you're on Law and Crime Network, and Chris Hansen's basically going to be on this. So I am going to pretty much watch this video, people. And this is my first time watching it. And if anybody start trolling and saying that why you keep stopping and pausing, you're going to get blocked, and your comments going to be removed. So if you're gonna troll, whatever. But your comments going to be removed regardless once you get blocked. So go ahead and waste your pathetic time. But anyway, yes, Chris Hansen is basically on Law and Crime Network, and it's not good, ADP. That's not good. Not good at all. So I'm going to sit here and see what Chris Hansen have to say.
What the cracking with him, my your boy, eat that 445, coming at y'all, Mark, mother with another video.
That was YouTuber Bryant Moreland, aka EDP445. Moreland had a very different tone when he was accused of sexual misconduct by online predator catchers.
What's up, man?
What's up?
No fist? Okay. No fist bump?
I don't fist bump people like you, man.
Okay. We have you talking to Sophie. Correct? Yes or no?
Right.
Okay. Sophie is how old? Before, and again, I have it right here. I know the answer, but I just
Okay.
need you to tell me the answer. How old is she?
13.
13. Okay. And before we get into the messages, there was sexual content involved. Yes or no?
Right.
And you said.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, he's heading home now, so you know.
Hey, Cece.
You're gonna get help, right?
Hey, Cece, you...
Yes. You
Hey,
know.
bro.
Just send the cop
No,
over
back
here.
up.
Send the
You're
cop
gonna get
over
help,
here.
right?
So who better to break this down than the most well-known predator catcher of them all, Mr. Chris Hansen. Chris, it's an honor and a pleasure. Thanks for coming on Law and Crime After Hours.
Sam, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. How you doing? Happy New Year.
I'm doing well. Happy New Year to you too, Chris. So what's going on here? You have a YouTuber, a public figure. He's got 2.2 million subscribers. He's pulling in millions of views. How does he get caught up in something like this, Chris?
Well, we see this every once in a while on YouTube. It's vastly unregulated, and these guys have this enormous platform where they reach a lot of people. And if you're so designed to engage in predator-like activity, you can use that platform and that notoriety to reach out to potential targets, and that's certainly what appears to have been happening here with Bryant Moreland at EDP 445. He was engaging in inappropriate conversations, according to many people.
You hear that? For all you EDP defenders out there, for the people out there who say that everybody's just clout chasing off for EDP, why nobody ain't saying that Chris Hansen's clout chasing? Oh, Chris Hansen's clout chasing. Chris Hansen is not clout chasing. Chris Hansen been way motherfucking popular, way popular than EDP before he even became a YouTuber. So do y'all honestly think that Chris Hansen needs EDP's popularity in order to get notoriety? The fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that damn shit.
With minors. And ultimately, this got back to a couple of other content creators, Master at Work and Cold Raven, who are also in that sports, football mania realm. And they had had enough. What they saw, what they heard, sickened them, this behavior. So they turned it over to a fellow named Alex Rosen, who you saw, who confronted EDP 445. And outed him after what was allegedly a conversation between Moreland and a 13-year-old. And they had the transcripts. And so at this point, we get onto the story and we interview Alex, and we tried to interview EDP 445. He first said he'd do it if we paid him, which we don't do. And then he declined the interview altogether. And I wish I...
Yeah, he's scared. EDP is scared, man. I told you people, man, he would go on everybody else's platform. He would go on all these small platforms to try to explain his innocence, even though he really didn't explain his innocence like that, because EDP saying he's done absolutely nothing wrong, but he had an opportunity to go on a bigger platform to explain his innocence, and that was Chris Hansen. So either way, he's scared of Chris Hansen. I don't even think it was about the fucking money, because if EDP had the 100% factual evidence to prove to people that he was set up, he would have showed up on Chris Hansen's show free of charge on a bigger platform. If somebody said, hey, come on to my platform, I got bigger audience than you have, so come on to there and explain you're innocent. You say you're innocent, so let's hear your side of the story. He didn't want to do that. So yeah, EDP punked out. He punked out because he knew Chris Hansen will fucking go straight for his fucking jugular vein when it comes to the questions.
Would have had him there because I think I could have pinned him down. Now, he came up with all kinds of excuses, as you know and saw. But
exactly. And you just heard what he said. He said he could have pinned him down, and EDP was coming up with all the excuses. See what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, the evidence was pretty damning. And so finally, YouTube took action. They took him off the platform. He funded him. And he's faced some other consequences, although he has not been charged by law enforcement in this case.
Do you know why he hasn't been charged yet?
I do not. I know that there was an open investigation. They were looking at it. I can tell you, Sam, that generally speaking, in the law enforcement community, there is difficulty prosecuting some of these vigilante cases. And I'm not saying the work that Alex Rosen and Predator Poachers did was shoddy in any way. I'm not being critical of them, but they tend to do these cases and put them on their own social media platforms, and they get attention. And I think some of this is well-intentioned, that they're trying to out people who are trying to harm children. But because there's no collaboration with law enforcement on the front end, it becomes very difficult to prosecute these cases on the back end. So you have a lack of social justice, and the rap on some of these groups, and I'm not putting Alex in that category, is that they're doing this for clicks and profit and gains without having any social justice on the back end.
Yeah, it can be a messy disconnect between the people who catch him and actually law enforcement stepping in.
And that doesn't mean their work wasn't good. It doesn't mean their work wasn't good, and it doesn't mean that Moreland isn't responsible for his actions, because he is, and ultimately he was held accountable by YouTube and some of these other social media platforms.
Did you notice Moreland try to high five and fist bump Rosen?
What's up, man? What's up? No fist? Okay. No fist bump? I don't fist bump people like you, man.
Okay, so
Well, yeah, he was going to be his buddy all of a sudden. It's like when the Predator Sokol brought the pizza into the Fairfield County investigation. He offered me a piece of pizza, like he was going to suddenly be my buddy. And these guys do this all the time. We did an investigation, Sam, just a few weeks ago, where the guy came around the corner, in the first words out of his mouth were Chris Hansen. He knew what he was walking into, but did it anyway. We had another guy in that same sting operation. At the end of the conversation I had with him, which is very animated and aggressive, it'll be on True Blue in the next few days. I said, well, there's something you need to know. I'm Chris Hansen. He goes, oh, I know. I said, well, how did you know? He said, well, I'm 49. I watch TV. Everybody knows. It's like, well, why are you here if you think this is such a threat?
Yeah, you hear what he said, right? See, Chris Hansen have experience. He's basically telling everybody, like, look, I got experience. So Chris Hansen basically know these kind of people, their tactics on what they try to do. They try to be your friend, even though they know they're busted, but they already know what time it is. So Chris Hansen see the shit that EDP is doing. Because it's no different than all the other motherfuckers that Chris Hansen has busted.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, he says he knows who you are, and at that point, obviously, he knows he's in some trouble.
Yeah.
What'd you make of EDP basically right off the bat admitting that he was talking to a 13-year-old?
have you talking to Sophie, correct? Yes or no?
Right.
Okay. Sophie is how old? Before, and again, I have it right here. I know the answer, but I just need you to tell me the answer. How old is she?
13.
13. Okay. And before we get into the messages, there was sexual content involved, yes or no?
Right.
And you said
Correct.
Well, I think he's trying to mitigate the criminal responsibility. I see this all the time in these cases. Okay, I was talking to the person because obviously you have the proof of that. It's right there in the transcripts. But I didn't intend to have an inappropriate sexual liaison with that child. I was just having a conversation. I was just talking about sports or the things I talk about on my YouTube show. I didn't mean anything illicit by it. I hear it all the time that I just came over to make sure the child was okay. I was going to get her out of this risky lifestyle that she's been leading online. I was going to give her some money. I was going to give her a soda pop, whatever. Well, what are you doing with the condoms and the weed then? It doesn't make sense. So he was just trying to mitigate what he was caught doing. And you see this frequently with these guys. Their mindset is, okay, I'm going to do this because I've blurred the line between fantasy and reality, and I can't control my actions, right? I'm going to go for this. But if I do get caught, I need a backup excuse. It's almost, Sam, if you were driving on I-95 doing 93, and you're thinking, if I get clipped, what am I going to tell the cop?
Mm-hmm.
That's what these predators think, much more serious, devastating crime.
Yeah, of course. And they come up with every excuse in the book. So EDP said he was there to pick up a cupcake. I mean, that has to be one of the
Hey, everybody keeps bringing up EDP's favorite catchphrase. When I was coming over to pick up a cupcake, like everybody's EDP, everybody's mocking you, dude. Everybody's mocking you and just clowning you for the things you've done a few years ago. I mean, it's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. You went out there and you just embarrassed yourself, dude. I know that had to be the most embarrassing things you experienced in your life, and then get put on social media and then get put on blast, especially you admitted these things. And like Chris Hansen and them say, guys like you that gets caught, y'all have like a million excuses. Millions of excuses. Don't want to own up to your mistakes that you made.
or laughable excuses you've ever heard, Chris?
Well, I was coming out here to.
Glasses off.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake and then go back home. There was, nothing that was going to be sexual involved because I'm not like that. Well, obviously the text messages and stuff like that.
Well, he's nervous, and so that's the best he could come up with. I came to pick up a cupcake. What does that say about this guy besides this?
And they clowning you, nigga. Damn. EDP, I swear to God, man, they clowning you, man. All these bigger names, man. You get no respect, EDP. You get no respect. The only people that respects you is your stupid little retarded little fan base that you have. Stupid kids out there that still fucking respects you. But grown adult men, such as myself and people like Chris Hansen and other grown adults that see through your bullshit, you get no respect, dude. You're like a fucking clown.
Obviously, he's 445 pounds and has had more than his fair share of cupcakes in his life. Is it a reference to, something a child would like? The child offered a cupcake? I mean, maybe there was something in the chat that I didn't see, with the decoy referencing a cupcake. But yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is. And he also claims he can't be a predator because it's not how his mom raised him. What'd you make of that?
My mom, may she rest in peace. You guys know that, right? You guys see the videos.
Yeah.
All that bullshit. My mom did not raise a fucking. Okay? She did not raise a creep or where. I know what the screenshots say. Okay? I'm aware of that. I'm looking right at them. Okay?
Well, no mother raises their child to be a predator. Come on. I mean, it just doesn't go.
Of course, our mother's not gonna raise their child a pedophile, just like what he said. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Found that way. These guys develop a fantasy and a fetish, and some are, wired this way, I suppose. But they ultimately decide to try to have this sexual liaison with a child for whatever reason. And of course, his mother didn't raise him that way, but he turned out to be that way for whatever combination of reasons we don't know.
So after he involves his dead mom, Chris, he then admits that he's done this more than once.
Most definitely, this is not your first time either, right?
Right.
This is absolutely not. How many times have you done this?
This is actually This actually is my first time.
You just said it wasn't your first time, and now you say it is.
Oh yeah, that he's communicated before, because now he's thinking, okay, I got caught this time. What else do they have on me, right? And how do I, again, mitigate the harm here? What is my story? How am I going to defend this? I mean, these guys think they can talk their way out of it right up until the last minute when, the law enforcement officers and detectives come in and arrest them from the task force. I mean, I've seen it all. And if you had asked me 18 years ago when we did our very first predator investigation, if guys would still be showing up, I would have said, no, this is a 1 or 2 time investigation. Nobody's going to show up after we put this on television. But again, it speaks to the crime, the mindset of these guys, how many of them are out there. And quite honestly, the ubiquitous nature of the internet. When we started this, we merely had decoys in chat rooms on AOL and Yahoo. Well, today, the number of social media platforms, and hence the ability for an adult to contact a child, is grown exponentially. You can't even keep track of it anymore with all these different platforms out there now.
Yeah, let alone a guy with a platform with 2.2 million subscribers. So Chris, after he admits to doing this multiple times, he somehow seems shocked that they're going to call the cops.
Favor?
No, you guys, please.
Hi, is this Bakersfield, Kern County?
Are you guys really doing it?
Are you really doing this?
There's somebody here to
You're here to meet a 13-year-old.
who has solicited photos. There's somebody here.
Are you really doing this?
Yes.
Oh yeah, like he's the victim. That's the other thing that these guys often do is they claim that they're the victim. You guys set me up. I wasn't going to do this. I get emails frequently from friends and relatives of alleged predators who I've caught saying, he told me all about it. He told me what was in the transcripts. Well, he didn't tell you everything that was in the transcripts, and he didn't tell you everything that was said on a recorded phone conversation between your guy and the decoy. In my cases at least, there's a threshold, and there are rules in place so that there isn't an entrapment issue. And that's why there is virtually 100% conviction rate here, because we collaborate with law enforcement to make sure that social justice is achieved. He thinks he's going to explain his way out of this to the cops because he's got this, online activist group who's caught him.
Yeah. Speaking of the people who called him, Chris, like you mentioned this earlier, you thought they did a nice job and you weren't dinging them for anything that they did in getting EDP. But someone who's experienced as you are, you're viewed as the legend, the GOAT of predator catching. Overall, what's your opinion on YouTubers doing sting operations like this?
Well, I think it presents a risk to justice. And I think some of the people doing this are maybe well-intentioned, but they don't have all the safeguards in place to prevent themselves from getting injured, to injure the person they're going after without having any sort of, due process.
Yeah.
And to harm somebody's reputation. It's easy, Sam, to go out there and set up a sting and jump out of the bushes for 10 seconds of dramatic video. Anybody can do that. Not anybody, but a lot of people can do that. The difficult part is structuring this so that, one, you find people who are actually predisposed to doing it, who have done it before, to actually find bad humans trying to harm children. We're not trying to trick people. These are people who would be doing this with or without our sting operations. And then to make sure that it's done safely, that it's done so there can be a prosecution. And that's what we do. And I don't think there's anybody else doing it quite like that.
Yeah, I think a key word you use there is doing it safely. So, Chris, you actually have a report coming out about EDP. Do you want to talk about that?
We do. It's going to be in a few days here. We've gone back and taken a look at what's happened to this case since we first reported on it several months ago. And, as I mentioned earlier, Sam, he was, demonetized, deplatformed, taken off of YouTube. He has, been held accountable in his personal life. But we wanted to go back and take a look at what he's been doing since then. And now there are fresh allegations as recent as December 2022 that he's been contacting underage people again online.
Yep, he has. Thanks to Master at Work putting them on blast. Shout out to Master at Work again and Cole Raven. You know what I'm saying? He has been doing it again, and EDP. I think this time maybe Chris Hansen then might finally crack down on your ass, man. Finally get your ass. But let me finish the rest of this clip, and then I'm gonna finish talking.
Oh my gosh.
And these two content creators, Cold Raven and Master at Work, have been very involved in following this. So I have both of them on, and then we talked to a lawyer who's expert, Reyes Mohammed, in this field, and he talks about the liability there, and what's going to happen now that EDP445 has changed his name from Brian Moreland. He's on TikTok now, where he's got about 700,000 followers there. So what's happening on TikTok with all these potentially young and impressionable people following him there? So, for us, it's about creating awareness and a dialogue and letting people know that this is what this guy is all about.
Terrible.
And he rattles his saber and threatens to sue and everything else. Well, come on then. But stop the predatory activity.
I'm glad someone like you is on it, Chris. Chris Hansen, appreciate you coming on.
Sam, thank you.
All right, I just want to say, EDP, not looking good on you, man. Not looking good on you whatsoever, motherfucker. They watching your ass. They is watching your ass like a hawk. It just mind boggles me, man. Mind blowing. That EDP, you never once acknowledged Chris Hansen. You never once acknowledged Chris Hansen. Like, this nigga is scared of Chris Hansen, man. He's afraid of Chris Hansen. You notice when EDP make the videos, he don't even want to say anything about Chris Hansen. Because he know if he opened his mouth and say one word about Chris Hansen gonna really get at his ass. He really gonna get on him, though. So I'm glad Chris Hansen did. Like I said, Chris Hansen probably won't do anything, you know what I'm saying? But I think they're trying to throw a little hint at you, EDP, and letting your ass know that we're watching you. We're watching you very closely. So, yeah, man, that's like the second or third time that Chris Hansen is pretty much acknowledging you. And like I said, dude, you're just afraid of Chris Hansen. You're afraid of him. And just like what Big Bigelow said, YouTuber named Big Bigelow, I think that's what his name is. Shout out to Big Bigelow. It's like what he said, dude. Are you going to die as a liar? Because we know you got stage 5 kidney failure. And Big Bigelow came up with a good point, man. And the good point is, are you going to die as a liar? And to answer that, yeah, I believe EDP is going to die as a liar. He is going to die as a freaking liar, dude. So, it is what it is, people. Great video, by the way. But damn, EDP, you on Law and Crime Network. That's not good, dude. It's just mind blowing that TikTok's still putting up with you and shit. Cause like I said, TikTok is full of fucking weirdos any damn way. But whatever though, people though. But yeah, man. Great video that Chris Hansen made, and I just hope Chris Hansen and he get his crew together and finally put EDP and lock his ass up in jail. Because Chris Hansen said at the beginning of the video, you heard what Chris Hansen said. He said, had he got you to interview, he said he would have got your ass trapped. He said he would have got you good. But you just wouldn't show up. You just didn't have enough guts to show up. Because you're afraid of him. Everybody know you scared of Chris Hansen. Anyway, peace.